Welcome to my channel Starwire Daily. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. You wake up in a hospital bed, disoriented, confused. The accident is a blur, but there's your mother, your best friend, your only parent, standing beside you with that familiar, comforting smile. But something's wrong. Something's terrifyingly wrong. The woman looking back at you, she's not your mother. She's someone else entirely, wearing your mother's face, speaking with her voice, but you know, deep in your bones, this is an imposter. This isn't the plot of your latest nightmare, darlings. This is the premise of Hulu's brand new series, Phony. And let me tell you, it's about to become your newest obsession. Just 2 days ago, the streaming world was rocked by news that sent shockwaves through Hollywood. Connie Britton, yes, the Connie Britton, our beloved Tammy Taylor from Friday Night Lights, the woman who made us believe in love, family, and Texas forever, has officially signed on to star in what might just be the most psychologically twisted series of the year. But here's where the story gets interesting, because Phony isn't just another show. It's a mystery that's been brewing behind the scenes for over 2 years, wrapped in secrecy, involving bidding wars, and now featuring one of television's most beloved actresses in a role that will completely shatter everything you think you know about her. Let me take you behind the velvet curtain of Hollywood development hell, because this story, the story of how Phony came to be, is almost as intriguing as the show itself. Picture this. September 2022, a relatively unknown writer named Nick Paley walks into rooms across Hollywood with a script so compelling, so uniquely twisted that it sparks what industry insiders are calling one of the most intense bidding wars of the year. 6 major networks and streaming platforms are circling like sharks. The project had been quietly developing at ABC Signature, but suddenly everyone wants a piece of it. Why? Because Paley isn't just any writer. He's the creative genius behind Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, that surprisingly emotional indie film that made grown adults cry over a tiny shell with one googly eye. But here's what makes this even more delicious. Drew Goddard's name is attached as executive producer. For those who don't know, Goddard is the mastermind behind The Good Place, Daredevil, and The Cabin in the Woods. When Drew Goddard puts his name on something, you pay attention. When he fights for something in a bidding war, you know it's special. Hulu emerges victorious from this battle royale, reportedly paying a 7-figure sum. Yes, you heard that right, 7 figures, for what was essentially a script-to-series commitment. That means they were so confident in this project that they promised to make it into a full series before they even had a cast, before they even had a pilot. Fast forward to October 2024. After 2 years of development, whispers, and speculation, the announcement comes. Connie Britton will star as Ellen, the mysterious mother at the center of this psychological puzzle. But here's where things get even more intriguing. She's not just starring in it, she's executive producing it. Now, let's talk about what this role means for Connie Britton's career, because this isn't just another project for her. This is a deliberate, calculated move that could completely redefine her legacy in Hollywood. For over 2 decades, we've known Britton as America's sweetheart, the supportive wife, the nurturing mother, the woman who holds families together with grace and Southern charm. Tammy Taylor in Friday Night Lights made her a household name, showing us a woman who was strong yet vulnerable, fierce yet compassionate. Then came Nashville, where she played Raina James, again the backbone of the show, the character everyone rooted for. Even in American Horror Story, while she played more complex roles, she was still fundamentally the character we trusted, the one we believed in. But Phony changes everything. This time, Connie Britton is asking us to question everything we think we know about her, about mothers, about trust itself. She's playing a character who might, and I emphasize might, be an imposter wearing a mother's face. The woman we've trusted for 20 years is now asking us, what if you can't trust the person closest to you? The casting of Sam Nivola as Sonny, her son, is equally brilliant. Nivola, who made waves in The White Lotus, brings a vulnerability and authenticity that will make us feel every moment of his character's confusion and terror. Imagine being a teenager, waking up from a traumatic accident, and realizing the one person in the world you trust most might not be who they claim to be. But let's dig deeper into what this show is really about, because Phony operates on multiple levels. On the surface, it's a mystery. Is Ellen really an imposter, or is Sonny's perception altered by his accident? But beneath that, it's exploring themes that are universally terrifying. The fear that the people closest to us might not be who we think they are, the nightmare of losing your grip on reality, the horror of being completely alone in your suspicions. In our current world, where social media creates carefully curated versions of ourselves, where deep fakes make it possible to literally put anyone's face on anyone else's body, where we're constantly questioning what's real and what's fake, Phony feels incredibly, unnervingly relevant. The show's creator, Nick Paley, has described it as a coming-of-age story, but don't let that fool you into thinking this is some sweet, nostalgic look at growing up. This is coming of age through psychological horror, through the complete destruction of everything you believe to be true. And here's what makes it even more fascinating. This isn't just Paley's vision anymore. Anthony King has joined as co-showrunner and executive producer. King's resume includes Dead to Me, another show that masterfully blended comedy and mystery, that kept audiences guessing while delivering genuine emotional moments. His involvement suggests that Phony will be more than just a twisted mystery. It'll be a show that makes you laugh, cry, and question your own sanity, sometimes all in the same scene. Now, here's some insider tea that's been bubbling up from my sources in Hollywood. The pilot that was shot has reportedly been described as mind-bending by network executives. There are whispers that the show employs a unique narrative structure that will keep audiences guessing not just about what's happening, but about what's real and what isn't. One executive, speaking anonymously, described watching the pilot as emotionally exhausting in the best possible way. Another said it reminded them of early episodes of Black Mirror. That feeling of watching something that starts familiar but slowly, inevitably becomes deeply unsettling. But let's talk about what this means for Connie Britton personally, because taking on this role represents a massive risk for an actress who has built her career on being trustworthy, reliable, the person you want on your team. At 58, when many actresses are being pushed towards supporting roles or disappearing entirely, Britton is choosing to reinvent herself in the most dramatic way possible. She's not just playing against type, she's potentially destroying type entirely. If Phony succeeds, and if her performance is as complex and unsettling as early reports suggest, it could open up an entirely new phase of her career. We could be looking at a completely different Connie Britton moving forward. One who can play the villain, the unreliable narrator, the person you can't quite trust. And here's why this matters for all of us as viewers. We're living in the golden age of limited series. Shows like Mayor of Easttown, The White Lotus, Only Murders in the Building. They've proven that audiences are hungry for mystery, for stories that respect our intelligence, that don't hand us easy answers. Phony has all the ingredients to join that pantheon. You've got a powerhouse actress taking the biggest risk of her career. You got a creator whose previous work suggests he understands how to blend heartbreak with humor. You've got a production team with a track record of creating shows that become cultural phenomena. And you got a premise that's so simple, yet so terrifying that it's impossible to shake. But here's what makes me most excited about Phony. It's not just asking us to solve a mystery. It's asking us to question our own perceptions, our own relationships, our own grip on reality. In a world where we're constantly questioning what's true and what's fake, where we're all dealing with versions of people online who might not be who they claim to be, this show feels like it's tapping into something primal and contemporary at the same time. The fact that Hulu ordered this straight to series tells us they believe they have something special on their hands. This isn't a show that's going to get lost in the shuffle. This is a show that's going to demand attention, that's going to have people calling their friends after every episode saying, "Did you watch? We need to talk." And can we just take a moment to appreciate the journey this show has taken? From Nick Paley's original idea to a 6-way bidding war, to 2 years of development, to finally finding its perfect star in Connie Britton. This is a project that has been fought for at every step. Everyone involved believes in it so deeply that they've been willing to wait, to fight, to invest their reputations in making it happen. That level of passion from everyone involved usually translates to something special on screen. When you see a project where the creators, the stars, the network, and the production companies are all this committed, it creates a kind of magic that's impossible to fake. Now, we don't have an official release date yet, but industry insiders are suggesting we might see Phony as early as late 2025. That gives us plenty of time to speculate, to theorize, to prepare ourselves for what promises to be one of the most talked about shows of the year. And here's something to think about while we wait. How well do you really know the people closest to you? How would you react if you woke up tomorrow and something felt off about someone you love? Phony is going to make us all question those relationships in ways that might be deeply uncomfortable. This is what great television does. It doesn't just entertain us, it haunts us. It makes us look at our own lives differently. It makes us question things we never thought to question. And based on everything I've learned about Phony, this is exactly the kind of show that's going to burrow into your brain and refuse to leave. Connie Britton has spent 2 decades making us feel safe, making us believe in the goodness of mothers and wives and strong women. Now she's asking us to throw all of that out the window and follow her into something dark, twisted, and potentially terrifying. The question isn't whether we'll watch Phony. Of course we will. The question is whether we'll ever be able to look at Connie Britton or anyone else the same way again. This has been another deep dive from Starwire Daily, where we bring you the stories behind the stories that are shaping Hollywood. If this breakdown got you as excited about Phony as I am, hit that like button. It really helps us continue bringing you these exclusive insights. And drop a comment below. Are you ready to see Connie Britton in a role that might change everything we think we know about her? What theories do you have about what's really going on in Phony? Don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell, because as this story develops, and trust me, with a show this mysterious, there will be developments. You'll want to be the first to know. Until next time, keep your eyes open, trust no one, and remember, sometimes the people closest to you are exactly who they seem to be, but sometimes they're not. This is Starwire Daily, and I'll see you in the next story.